What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, and I'm back at y'all with another one. So who said Turki Alalshiekh, His Excellency, is not good for the sport of boxing? Turki Alalshiekh, not even 24 hours, a full 24 hours, after having a historic fight in the UK, the United Kingdom, and resuming a deep rivalry between two families that included the legendary Hall of Famer Chris Eubank Sr. and another Hall of Famer, Nigel Benn, their sons. They had a huge rivalry. Their sons resumed that rivalry yesterday with Chris Eubanks Jr. taking on Conor Benn. And the fight absolutely lived up to the billing. 1,000% the fight lived up to the absolute billing, right? Where it saw Chris Eubanks sacrifice and have a catch weight, go down in weight with a rehydration clause because he competes at 168. He does compete at 160, but he's naturally at this point in his career a 168-pounder. With a record of now 35 wins, 3 losses, no draw, 25 wins by way of knockout. He was knocked out one time in his career. He's 35 years of age, 5'11" on a 72-inch arm reach. He went down in weight to fight the natural welterweight in Conor Benn, who is now 23 wins, 1 loss, no draw, 14 wins by way of knockout at 28 years of age. So they fought in a historic fight. It lived up to the billing. Now, I thought in the first half of the fight, the first 7 rounds, I thought Chris Eubanks, clearly the size difference was just too much for Conor Benn to close the gap. And Chris Eubanks was easily outboxing and beating Conor Benn, right? I thought he won 6 rounds out of 7, maybe 7 rounds clear. But in the second half of the fight, Chris Eubanks, he ran out of gas. Now, again, he had to do a lot to cut the weight. So he dropped the weight, and he seemed to have run out of gas. When he came back in the second half of the fight, he had to stand toe-to-toe. And it gave Conor Benn some opportunities. And it lived up to the hype. It lived up to the billing. But now His Excellency Turki Alalshiekh has already talked to both guys and has set the rematch already to take place in September. And he already has the location in Tottenham. Once again, he set the location, he set the date already, okay? He stated that the only thing is if both guys are healthy, because Chris Eubanks, he had to go to the hospital immediately following the fight because it was a hard-fought fight. So Chris Eubanks, he had to go to the hospital. But he won the fight, clearly, but he took some big punches down the stretch of the fight. Because, again, like I said, he was standing flat-footed. He was standing in front of Conor Benn, and Conor Benn is a big puncher, explosive puncher. And, yes, he stood in front of him. He took some big punches, and he won the fight clearly, in my opinion, and clearly on the judges' scorecards because he won the fight 116, 112 on all 3 judges' scorecards, as I thought he should have, right? But now, saying this to say, Turki Alalshiekh has already set the rematch up, has already made the rematch, and stated that as long as both guys are healthy, the rematch will happen now in September. This is huge for the sport of boxing. This is what we need from the sport of boxing. The fact that Turki Alalshiekh is immediately setting the rematch for September at Tottenham, that speaks volumes. No waiting, no politicking. Immediately, we're getting the rematch. That's what the sport of boxing needs, period. Salute to Turki Alalshiekh. I don't know, personally, if Chris Eubanks can make the weight, okay, because that was a huge issue last night as the fight played out. You know, you can clearly see that in the second half of the fight, the weight was an issue, and he had no mobility, right? He had to stand toe to toe. He couldn't move around the ring. And I think that was simply due to the weight, right? He just couldn't, you know what I mean? He was weight drained, okay? And he just simply could not move around the ring anymore. So his only choice was to stand toe to toe. You saw the process of him trying to make the weight, making the weight. He actually missed weight. Don't forget, he actually missed weight on the scale, right? By 0.5 pounds. But again, he made the rehydration where the next day he couldn't rehydrate over 170 pounds. He did that. But again, he absolutely had to destroy his body to do so. And I just personally don't think that he can do it again. I don't think that he can do it again. And looking at the fight itself, I don't think that Conor Benn can go up any more weight. You know what I mean? Like, he looked extremely small in this fight. But nonetheless, this is great news. If Chris Eubanks can do it and wants to attempt it, make it happen. But I think he's going to lose this time. I think as he ages, his body simply is not going to allow it. He got away with it this time, and his size was a problem for Conor Benn. But I don't think that his body is going to allow him to cut that weight again. And he won the fight, unanimous decision. I think now would be the time, if any, for Chris Eubanks to say, listen, it got to be at 164, 165. I can't have a rehydration clause. If we're going to do this rematch, that's the only way I could do it. It's detrimental to his body. It has to be at this point in time. But let's see how it unfolds and plays out, man. But that's all I got for y'all. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, or in one word, I'm gone. Peace.